Okay, hi everyone. This is a little video to explain how to use Google Drive. Google Drive is actually going to be really important to our class because namely this is how you are going to submit work and this is how I'm going to get graded work back to you. We're going to try and be as paperless as we possibly can. So yeah, here are some instructions. This might be a little long because I've had to include various things. So the first section is about how to set up a Google Drive account and folder. The directions for the folder are specifically for your history class, so keep that in mind. But I gave instructions if you want to do it on your iPad or if you want to do it on your computer. And then the second part is about how to actually upload things to your Google Drive. And again, I did that for your iPad or your computer, depending on your preferences. So you can watch this whole thing, hopefully it won't be too long, or you can fast forward to the parts that are going to be relevant to you. I'm also putting these slides up just as a PDF in case you don't want to hear me talk, which I can't imagine why you wouldn't just want to hear me talk outside of class. But it will be up there too. And also we're going to go over this in class. But this is just if you made a mistake, you need a refresher, whatever. Okay, so let's first go over how you make a Google Drive account from your iPad. The first thing you're going to need to do is you need to download the Google Drive app, which you can find in the App Store. I'm pretty sure it's free. If it's not free, then I think the price is pretty nominal, but I am like 99% sure that it's free. So you're going to open up your Google Drive app, and it's probably going to give you a couple of like introductory screens that you can just swipe through until you get to this, what you see right here, the sign in screen. Oh, I'm rusty. I'd explain everything. Anyway, so you're going to get to this Google screen, and you don't need a Google account to create your Google Drive folder for school. We're going to get to that on the next screen, but basically you want to get to this screen. Alright, so you're at your sign-in screen and you're going to put in your first class username and password. This is going to work with Google. Everyone at the school has a Google Drive through their first class information. So you're not just going to put in, your first initial and your last name. You're going to put in the whole thing, your name at mbs.net, and you're going to put in the password that you used to sign into first class also. That's going to get you in. Alright, so now we need to create a folder. Now this is just a screenshot of my drive. I already have stuff in there, but if you want to create a folder, you need to click on this little guy right here. So in the bottom right hand corner, a little circle with a white plus sign in it. You want to hit that. And then you're going to hit the folder icon. Pretty simple. Okay, so then it's going to ask you to create a name for your new folder. I'm going to ask you guys to label your history folder with your last name and history. So that way I can tell it's your folder, because keep in mind I'm going to have a folder for all of my students. So if you just put history, or if you just put the period we meet, that's not going to be clear to me that it's your folder. So I want you to put your last name, and I also want you to put history because I know that your folder is for history, but some of your other teachers may want you to create Google Drive folders as well. So this way, this is a folder that's going to be, to me, clear that it's yours, and to you, clear that it's for history. So last name, history. Alright, once you've created your history folder, I actually want you to go into your folder, so you're going to click on it, and I want you to create a subfolder that you're going to label graded work. That's pretty self-explanatory. Basically, when you want to submit an assignment, you're going to put it in your main folder right there. I'm going to open it up on my iPad in my Google Drive app. I'm going to then open in Notability. I'm going to make my marks, whatever. And then when I'm done, I'm going to put it back in your graded work folder. It's that simple. Alright, but in order for me to do that, to access your submitted work and then send it back to you, you need to make sure that I have access to your history folder. This is the only folder that I should have access to unless you really want me to see what you're doing in your other classes. So in order to give me access, first of all, you're going to click on, you're going to find your folder for history. Let's just say it's this one because that's what I set up. You're going to click that little I on the folder, and that's going to bring you to this menu. And you're gonna have a lot of options here. You want this one where it says add people. And then it's gonna bring up this screen that says add people. And then all you do is you type in my MBS address, my first class address, kcanedo@mbs.net. And then you wanna make sure that you have this checked off, can edit. That's gonna allow me to open up the documents that you put in there. And that pretty much covers it for how to create your account and folder on the iPad. But now let's take a look at how you do it on the computer, if that is what you are more comfortable with. So first you're going to want to go to drive.google.com, or you want to go to Google, wherever. You want to get to a Google screen where you can sign into an account. Drive.google.com is probably the easiest. If you have a Google account of your own, Gmail, whatever, you want to make sure you're signed out of that. I will say doing this on the computer, if you want to have your other Google account open, sometimes that can be a bit of a struggle. So just keep that in mind. But you want to make sure that you're signed out. And it's going to be the same thing. You're going to put in your first class username and your password. So, sometimes, might have you do it differently. I've already put in, or it recognizes my MBS account, and now it's just asking me for my password. Same thing as on the iPad. Okay, so the layout on the computer is a little different than what we just saw on the iPad. Whatever your preference is totally fine. But here, if you want to make a new folder, there's not going to be anything in the corner. Instead, you're going to look at My Drive, and it's going to bring down a drop-down menu, and you click on New Folder. And as I stated on the iPad directions, I would like you to label your folder for our class with your last name and history. So I know it's your folder, you know it's your folder for history, everybody's happy. And like in the iPad instructions, I'm going to ask you to make a subfolder within your history folder for your graded work. So again, you look for a drop-down menu, you're in your class folder, so you click on that next to My Drive, New Folder, you label it graded work, and everybody's happy. And again, you need to share your folder with me so I can access all your documents. So you're going to click on whatever folder is your history folder. So that's number 1. And then you need to go up here, number 2, to the icon of the person with the little plus sign next to their head. Okay, so this is the screen that's going to pop up. First, you're going to see link sharing. I don't really want you guys to get into that. It's a harder way of sharing everything. I won't worry about it. But for your history folder, I would say the one thing you might want to look at is making sure that your link sharing is off. No one's going to be able to access your folder unless you give them the link, but unless you want potentially people to be able to see into your history folder and see all your homework, I don't know, I would really recommend against that. I would just turn it off to be, make it easier. But this is really what you want to do. So we want to focus on this part here. So again, you're going to enter my MBS address, or you can even, I think, just put in my name. I think it will pop up that way on the computer the way it does in first class. And you're going to make sure that it's checked off on Can Edit, and then send. And you can even leave me a little note if you want, like, hey, Miss Canedo, you're the best. Here's my history folder, though you are not required to do that. All right, now let's talk about how you can actually add files to your history folder. First, we're going to go over how we do it on the iPad. So if you're working on your iPad, you're most likely working on in Pages for typed homework. At least that's what I would recommend. If you have the Word app on your iPad, that's totally fine. I would not recommend working on anything that you plan to submit in Notes or in any other app like that, unless you know it can be sent as a PDF and kind of just, a typed document like this. I would kind of stay away from it. So let's just say you're working in Pages. When you're done, your assignment's all done, you've proofread, you've done everything you need to do, you're going to click on the file share icon, which is pretty much in any app that'll let you share a file. And then you're going to tap on Open in another app. Alright, this is very important, guys. When you submit your work, I would really prefer that you do it as a PDF, because that is just the easiest file kind of across the board to open. in any of the apps I use. I use Notability. I know PDF files will open in Notability. Some of these programs won't open Word docs, or they won't open Pages docs. It's just easier if you do this PDF. So that's what I'm going to ask you to do. So you're going to click PDF, then it's going to take you to the next screen. Either you hit Choose App or it'll open on its own. But then you want to open in Drive. Once you hit Open in Drive, the Google Drive app will open. A little screen's going to come up. It's going to ask you if you want to upload the document that you chose. Yes, you do. You want to choose Upload. Before you do this, make sure you're signed into your MBS account. If you use your personal Google account for stuff, make sure it's not in there, because then obviously I won't see your homework. So you're in your MBS account, you choose Upload. Once your file is uploaded, it's not going to go directly into your history folder. It's going to go into pretty much like the desktop of your drive. Once it's on the desktop, you should be able to just drag it into your history folder, or you can mess around and, or you can click on the document. It'll ask you if you want to move it, and then you can move it to your history folder. But that's pretty much how you do it on the iPad. So last but not least, let's talk about how you convert your file and upload to Google Drive on your computer, if that's the way you prefer to work. If you're working in Microsoft Word, when you're done, you've proofread, everything is, has a nice little bow on it, you go to File. Hopefully you've been saving along the way, but then you go to File and you do Save As. So make sure it's just Save As for this part. You want to do Save As because Save As gives you the option of switching it to a PDF. So you want to make sure you hit on PDF. You also want to make sure that you give your file an appropriate name. This is also true if you're working on the iPad. If you send it to me as blank 59, or you send it to me as just like 14.4, I'm going to not necessarily know what it is. I'm going to get your work out of your folder, but I might have a couple of students' work open at the same time. It's also important, obviously, that you write your name on your document, but it would be really, really helpful if you could save your work with your name and the name of the assignment. That would be a big help to me. So you're going to give your file an appropriate name, and then you're going to choose to save it as a PDF. If you're using Pages, when you're done, I obviously didn't type anything here, but when you're done, hopefully your work looks better than this. You're going to go to the File menu, you go to Export to, and then you hit PDF, and then you save it wherever you want to save it, just like with Word. Okay, by far the easiest way to upload documents into your Google Drive from your computer is just to drag and drop it from your desktop or from whatever folder you have open. That's definitely the easiest. It's going to put it right on your Drive desktop, and then you can move it into your history folder. However, if you're not into the whole dragging and dropping, if you have everything really organized and set up in different folders and you don't like to clutter up your desktop, I don't know, you can do it another way. So from your main Drive screen, you go into My Drive. There's a selection for Upload Files. You want to pick that. It's going to give you the screen where you choose what you want. You click on it, you click Open, and then it's going to wind up on your desktop, but you still have to move that into the folder you want. And that's pretty much it, guys. That is how you use Google Drive. Hopefully this was helpful. We'll also, we'll have gone over this in class. If you have, and hopefully that will have cleared up any questions you have. But if you do have any questions on how to use Google Drive, you can always ask me. That's completely fine. If you have any trouble with Google Drive, because sometimes I know it can get a little glitchy, then you can always ask me for help. One other thing I want to make sure you guys are clear on. Once you put in a document here, you do not have to share that individual document with me. As long as you have shared your folder with me, I can see everything you put in there. So there's no need to kind of individually invite me to look at every piece of homework you put in your folder. As long as you've followed the directions and you've shared your folder with me, I'm good to go. So I'm looking forward to reading all of your fantastic work coming up this year. Thanks, guys.